Welcome in, everybody, and happy Thursday. It's a very special Thursday because it is the Thursday before the first week of high school football. Our Friday Night Football Showdown will get its first one on the rails tomorrow. We'll try not to go off the rails as much as we can, but Friday Night Football Showdown is back starting tomorrow night. And we are here to give you just a little bit of a preview of, we'll start with the games that we're going to be showcasing tomorrow night on the very first Friday Night Football Showdown of the year. Always a very special one. And a little bit of a different year this year. A lot of new classifications, some new divisions and stuff going on with certain high schools. The MHSAA has added in a 7A this year, so some schools who were 6A have now moved up to 7A, and just a lot of reclassification going on. But let's get right into it. One of the first games that we're going to showcase tomorrow night is Gaucher and Gulfport. That's over there in the Port City Bowl. That game got a little bit moved around. It's a 7:30 start over at Milner Stadium. But Gaucher, of course, coming off of a South State title appearance last year. And having to replace a 10,000-yard passer in quarterback Caden Irving. Gulfport also coming off of a playoff appearance last year and welcoming in new head coach Blake Pennick. Blake Pennick comes over from Ocean Springs, where he was the former head coach over there. So Gulfport bringing a lot of folks back. Gaucher in a little bit of a rebuilding year, still with a ton of talent on the offensive side of the ball. Gulfport with a lot of talent on both sides of the ball as well. Up next after that, we will have East Central taking on George County. Those two schools not very far apart from each other. Still a good rivalry game early on in that one. East Central coming off of another playoff run last year and this year coming into second-year head coach Sam Huff there for the East Central Hornets. And they'll be taking on George County. George County, very, very young team last year. Started double-digit numbers of sophomores last year, so a very young team. But the good part about that young team is that when you all start as sophomores like that, you will then loop up the next year and you will all start as juniors. So a lot of experience coming back on George County. It's a youthful team, but still a very experienced team in the way that you had a lot of sophomores start last year. You will now have a lot of juniors starting this year. They will, of course, be without four-star quarterback Deuce Knight. He has gone up to Tennessee. So George County without that, but still a ton of talent on the Rebel and Hornets teams as well. Up next after that, we will take a look at Bay High and Resurrection. Resurrection, the sole 1A school that we have with us down here on the coast. But as for Bay High, you see quarterback Xander Ladner there, three-year starter at quarterback, still only a junior though. But in talking with head coach Jeremy Turcotte, he said that basically their entire offense is back. All the skill players and everything, they are all back and ready to roll. As for Resurrection, they have a streak of playoff appearances to upkeep. They've only missed the playoffs once since 2014 down in 1A. So returning a lot on both offense and defense for Resurrection, hoping to make it back to the postseason once again, coming off of another postseason appearance from last year. Moving up a little ways, this is the into the Shrimp Bowl. We will take on, it will be Stone and Biloxi over at Biloxi. Stone coming into this year with first-year head coach Jacob Aycock. He was the former defensive coordinator over at Poplarville, moving just a little ways down the road into Stone County, into Wiggins to take over the Tomcats. So a lot of returners coming back, including quarterback Connor Tice for the Tomcats. He should be had an incredible season last year. Stone, of course, coming off of a South State title appearance last year as well. As for Biloxi, looking to make it one of those teams in 7A, moving up into 7A, looking to make a splash with a younger team. They already got some action in the Jamboree against Gaucher as well. Moving ahead, we'll have St. Martin and Van Cleve. St. Martin, of course, led by four-star Nareel White. Was a wide receiver last year. They've moved him over to quarterback this year. That's another team moving up to 7A, and they'll be taking on Van Cleve in their season opener. Van Cleve, of course, has had a recent run of success with really, really good running backs, starting with Dayon Bilbo, then moving into John Peterson last year. So still looking to replace that John Peterson role. Van Cleven head coach Kevin Fant, they have a really, really good way of finding really, really good running backs in that system that they run. So St. Martin at Van Cleve, another one to open up the season. Pascagoula and Moss Point is our is our next game up that we will be showcasing for you guys. Pascagoula staying in 6A, still a very talented team. Was a very talented team in 6A last year, going to stay in 6A this year, led by Lewis Sims and quarterback Silas Corder. For Moss Point, the stadium repairs are all set and ready to go for the Battle of the Cats as they welcome in new head coach John Feaster over there at Moss Point to get the 2023 season started. And the final game that we will showcase in our very first Friday Night Football Showdown is Long Beach at Pass in the Oyster Bowl. Long Beach welcomes in Jacob Massey, head coach Jacob Massey, into his second year with the program, as they look to really turn over a new leaf. Haven't had a lot of success in recent seasons, but looking to make a change there for that. And for Pass, they're also welcoming in a new head coach in Jeff Stockstill. He comes down from Scott Central, where he was a back-to-back state champion with the Scott Central Rebels, and they're also coming off of a playoff appearance last year. So those are just the games that we're going to showcase on the Friday Night Football Showdown tomorrow, really, because it's already here. We do have a couple of away games as well that we're going to try and get from some of our sister stations, namely Picayune at Brandon. That game up at Brandon with an 8 p.m. start. As well as Poplarville and Jeff Davis. We're going to try and get that one, as well as Sacred Heart, or St. Patrick at Sacred Heart, and then Ocean Springs taking on a big road trip up at Madison Central as well. So first week, everybody's playing. All 24 teams that you know and love that we always cover are all playing this week. So first couple of weeks, everybody's playing. Everybody, no bye weeks just yet. So should be a lot of fun. Should be a great first Friday for the first Friday Night Football Showdown of the year. So you can keep it here with us. We will be there, and we will see you at 10:15 tomorrow night. We'll see you there.